Just as the Hebrews were freed from Egypt to go up to Canaan, so too was Alex Mashinsky freed from the oppressive Soviet Union in 1972 and allowed to emigrate to Israel. He was one of 300,000 Jews saved in an unconventional exchange for 300,000 metric tons of wheat from the United States. Awesome. With his newfound freedom, Alex began his entrepreneurial career at 14, later served in the Israeli Air Force and Golani, and afterwards went on to study economics at Tel Aviv University. Always one to think out of the box, Alex moved to America, started his first U.S. venture in 1989 as a pioneer in the field of voicemail, voice over IP soft switches, routing technologies, and optical network management. In addition to founding Arbanet, the exchange, in 1995, co-founding Herzliya-based Comgates in 98 and Q Optics in 2000, Alex was soon renowned as a telecom visionary. In 1999 alone, he was named Star of the Industry by Computer Telephony magazine, received the Technology Foresight Award from the Wall Street Journal Europe, and the Telecom Business Magazine's Business 500 and Editor's Choice Award, in addition to 17 patents. But Alex's most important prize was his marriage to Dina Thomas, a Southern belle from Memphis, Tennessee. Original, creative, fun, and inquisitive, Alex's success owes much to his unfailing optimism and his burning quest for answers, and a wholehearted commitment to setting aside family time with daughter Rena Shana, showing her early interest already in telecommunications, and with his wife Dina. A unique blend of Russian Renaissance, Israeli chutzpah, and American ingenuity, Alex was able to develop his God-given talents and actualize his tremendous potential. The United States got a terrific deal for the 1 metric ton of wheat it invested in him 28 years ago. Quite a story. Please join me in saluting Alex Mashinsky for his leading contribution, empowering mankind to communicate with ever-growing speed and effectiveness. He's actually joined here this evening by his parents and his sister who live here in Israel.
And one company blazing a trail on the innovation path is Arbanet, a company who at present is setting up the world's first exchange for telecoms capacity. And Arbanet founder and chairman Alex Mashinsky joins me now live in the studio. Alex, thanks for coming in this morning. An exchange for telecoms capacity, explain.
Sure. Good morning. We are creating an exchange for telecommunications. Since it's a commodity, it should be traded like a commodity, and it should be traded on an exchange. So Arbanet in '94 has taken the challenge of creating an exchange, and we've been trading telecommunications since '97.
What sort of necessity is there for a secondary market in bandwidth capacity, in effect?
Well, the world's capacity is only at 20% utilization. That means that 80% of that capacity is going unused every day, and it depreciates to zero. So what you really want to do is take as much capacity as possible and enable it to be bought when it's needed by the customers. So you need a real-time spot market, and that's what we created.
So who's buying and who's selling?
Well, the buyers are people who are using the capacity, and the sellers are people who produce one. So, for example, Global Crossing is a producer of capacity. At the same time, a corporation or a carrier that has many customers would be a buyer of a capacity.
I can imagine the old state-run telcos that Tom was alluding to in his report, suggesting that there's no necessity for this sort of thing. This is just a bunch of upstarts, and there's no reason for a commodity market in bandwidth capacity. How do you answer that?
Well, I think, you have to trade a capacity as a commodity, and if you have such excess and you're running at 20% utilization, if you were in any other business, you'd be out of business. If you were in the airline business and you were running at 20% utilization, you couldn't survive. So it's really just a question of when these companies are going to realize that they have to trade their excess capacity.
How much money is being made in this market?
Well, the industry altogether is about $180 billion, which is what we call the spot market for bandwidth and for minutes. So just think of it that it's a huge market. It's a huge opportunity, and it's one of the largest markets in the world.
How many actual players are there at the end of the day trading the market on a daily basis now? I mean, you've been around for what, a year?
Well, we've been around since '94. We've been trading for 2 years. We have over 1,000 people who are actually using our trading screens and are trading it electronically, but a very small number of them are actually active traders. I would say less than 100 are active traders, people who have embraced us as their primary provider.
Alex, interesting stuff. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Alex Mashinsky there from Arbanet.
AT&T has built a multi-billion-dollar telephone network, but on average, only 17% of it is in use at any one time. A New York startup called Arbanet wants to mobilize such unused capacity on the world's telephone networks. It's angling to set up a market that'll let phone companies buy and sell network capacity in real time, much like airlines sell unfilled airplane seats. Joining us now to explain is Arbanet's president, Alex Mashinsky. Welcome to Digital Jam.
Good evening.
How does this work?
Well, the carriers have all this bandwidth sitting out there, billions of dollars worth of pipes that they invested and built over the years. In today's environment, you can't really optimize it in real time. Whatever flows from Japan to the United States, that's it. Whatever flows from the US to Japan, that's it. And to optimize that, you have to have a system that will allow you, whenever the calls or the capacity is available, to fill that up with minutes, for example, from Brazil or minutes from other countries in the Far East.
Well, does your system then not only keep track of what's available and what's in demand, but who's buying what? I mean, are you taking care of billing too?
Right. We're providing all the aspects of the trade, the authentication, authorization, contract, settlement between the parties, and real-time management of the network. So,
is this an actuality, or is it you know, a goal?
Well, we're at different steps right now. We have started our services in mostly in Asia, and now we're doing it also in some other countries. But we're running millions of minutes right now.
Well, explain to me on a really simple level. I'm a telephone company in Hong Kong, let's say.
Right.
And I want to buy some capacity. What do I do?
Right. Well, today you have only one option. I'll talk in generic terms on Asia because I don't want to talk about any specific carrier. But today you don't have too many options. Usually you must go through the local carrier. And what we create is in each country there's different opportunities, different arbitrage opportunities. We allow or we enable those opportunities by providing the tools, what we call a CLN or a switch, a very flexible switch that allows you to route the calls in a much more efficient way. So for example, reversing the direction of the call or sending one leg of the call through the internet or through any other way.
Well, lots of corporations have equipment which decides what the cheapest route is and routes it that way. Is this just kind of a super sophisticated gizmo of that kind for the phone companies?
Well, until now, what you could have done is choose MCI, AT&T, or somebody else. What we allow you to do is really choose the different technologies that are out there. And there are different pipes covering the world, each one running completely different technology. For example, you cannot place transparently a call over the internet as you're placing it over the voice lines. And for the first time, our equipment allows you to do it in a completely transparent manner.
And Alex, what piece of the action do you take for all this?
Well, we provide value, so we charge different levels based on the value that our customers are asking us to do. If it's just matching the buyer and seller, we have a small piece, but if we do the contractual part, if we do the authorization part, the settlement part, and so on, we make a nice living.
Can you give me a range from how low to how high?
I would say anywhere from 5 to 15% of the trade, of the value of the call.
Are there any phone companies that have shown particular interest that you can mention?
Sure, we have AT&T Japan is one of our customers. We have other, I could say that 3 out of the top 5 carriers in the world are using our services today.
We called you a startup. Can you give us a sense of how long you've been doing this and what kind of revenue you have, how far along you are?
Well, we started in 1994, and everybody thought I had a crazy idea, so nobody gave us any money, so we're totally self-funded. And we're just over 60 people now, and we have offices in all 5 continents, so we're growing very quickly.
Where's your principal office?
Right here in Manhattan.
Silicon Alley?
On 54th Street.
Oh, not on Silicon Alley.
No.
Any competitors yet?
Everybody that we found is really doing just placing the rates on the internet, and nobody has really solved the problem of how you transport the call, because one of the main things that we're doing is allowing part of the trade to facilitate the call itself. And as you know, I mean, most of the carriers have invested over $1 trillion worth of infrastructure with mainframe switches that are are not flexible and were never designed for a real-time environment. What we've done is overlaid that with a very flexible switches that are very cheap, that are open architecture, PC-based, and that allows us a flexibility of both monitoring and routing the calls.
PC-based switches are fault-tolerant enough and so forth and have the capacity to do this work?
Right. Standalone, they're not, but when you cascade them and when you use standard technology that is available in most of the LANs, most Fortune 500 companies use them for mission-critical applications. There's no difference.
Your intention is to grow the business how big?
Well, our business plan is calling for $30 billion in revenues by the year 2001. So we're going all the way.
That's nothing if not ambitious.
Right.
Wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.
Alex Mashinsky, the CEO of Arbanet.
זה לא שכולם סגרו את, איך שאומרים בעברית, סגרו את הבסטות והלכו הביתה, אלא יותר עניין של, אוקיי, יש לנו תקופה של חצי שנה או שנה, שבה יהיה הרבה יותר קשה לעבור את כל המכשולים ולמכור את המוצרים.